Hi, guys. Good morning.
15-minute lull.
There's some more breakfast. So you guys would like to put this, like, in the back of there? Thank you.
The restrooms are downstairs.
You want your pen?
This one.
You guys are. Okay. Well, I'm on the best sounds. I'm gonna do. Want some.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are, they barely touch anything. They start to fire.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of you.
You know, for as much as they don't want to be rising, you do like, every thousand days fine, a year, but now, they make a storm fires, they.
Nice to meet you. We are. Yeah, definitely. We'll try to do it like. Last time we had it cars. They had it there. Let Leo know for sure. But I'm thinking. All right, now, admin that's going to be starting in October. But I'll get it all covered. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, we had my sister-in-law's baby shower there. It was really. Yeah.
Couple of. Settle pros where it's good for shallow, let's push back. They did the water main. I don't. Well.
Yeah. Don't accept that.
They did this. The market's gonna change.
Awesome. Thanks.
It's not a big issue. It's got duplicate funders for me. But I think I would. Small.
So I'm still, I was.
Yes. No, I'm sure. Then less than this. Twice a month. Yes. Yeah. I can't think about it when I'm walking. I take some all week. It's literally not. Julie, you ready? I'm fine. Are we online?
Yes.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our July meeting of the Central Front Range, CPR. We will get started today with a roll call. Make sure we've got a forum to proceed. First slide, if I get the first slide, Arlen's here. Kansas City, I'm Leo Evans. Custer County, El Paso County, nobody's here. It's El Paso County online, usually.
Oh, but I can see. Yes, there are.
He's Victoria. Here. Anyone from here? If you're online, just jump on and let us know you're here.
Park
Lawrence-
County Manager's here.
Sorry, what
Victoria
was that?
Chavez, El Paso County is here.
Our county was that another?
Yes,
Alright,
Park County's here.
Fairplay, Lawrence, we've got Sam and Eric. Fremont County is absent today. Our normal chairman. Anyone from Rockland? Silver Cliff? Heather County? Victor? West Cliff? Williamsburg? See, compared to right this year? No? So, no one from transit? Usually it's Tyler Senior Coalition, I think, is our voting member. I think we only have one voting member for senior transit, is that right, Jeff?
Yes, and I'm here.
Oh, Kathy's online, all right. And Transportation Commissioner Anna Parsons. Oh. And I guess for the benefit of everybody else in the room, if I didn't call your name or get you a chance to introduce yourself, why don't you go ahead and let us know who's here. John, can I start with you? Or actually, Lindsay, Julie down there.
I'm Julie, I'm the admin for the CFR, and I work for Canyon City.
Good morning, everyone. Lindsay Hawkins, CDOT Region 2 Plan.
John Hall, CDOT, the engineers in Colorado Springs.
Kevin Kennedy with the Golden Age Center and the Grants Manager.
Kathleen Collins, CDOT Statewide and Transportation Planning and Planning Liaison for Central Front Range.
Back here, Chad, right, CDOT maintenance.
CDOT traffic.
Scott Skinner,
Transit liaison. Traffic squatters, transportation planner, like speaker, council governors.
Morning, Jason, I'm traffic engineer for CDOT. Julie, could you go through call out the other ones online that didn't get a chance to introduce themselves yet?
Looks like we have Ed Schweitzer,
Ted Schweitzer, Transportation, City of Cripple Creek. Good morning.
got Max Hansen,
I'm Max Hansen. I'm a constituent service representative for Congresswoman Brittany Pedersen.
we have Lachelle Davis,
Good morning, Lachelle Davis, CDOT Region 2 Local Agency.
looks like we have Teller Senior Coalition. Scotty. Reed AI, that's somebody's AI. Kathy Lowry,
I'm here from Teller Senior Coalition.
okay, and Bobby Tech. Amber Shipley,
Hi, I'm Amber Shipley. I'm the Region 2 Communications Manager with Colorado Department of Transportation. Good morning.
Michael Snow,
Good morning, everybody. Michael Snow here. I'm with the Multimodal Planning and Active Transportation Group.
we have Crystal Armendariz,
Good morning, everyone. Crystal Armendariz, Office of Policy and Government Relations.
and it looks like we have Janelle. Can you pronounce your last name for me?
Janelle Shaka, Town Administrator, Town of Fairplay.
Remember, if that will offer an opportunity for any public comment. I don't think there was any true members of the public here. Once, twice. Thanks. All right, our first action item of the day was for approval of the meeting minutes. It would be the April 14th minutes from our meeting in El Paso County. Is there anybody that would be willing to make a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Lucas, second? What's that? Becky? Thank you. And any discussion, correction, anything else on those that we need? All in favor of approval of minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? Thanks. Jumping on to CDOT items, could we give an update from the Transportation Commission meeting? Did not get those notes.
No, their meeting later this week is a matter of fact, for the work session, and I guess I can tell you what'll be on the slide, and then I would just like to hear that.
Sure.
The normal monthly bridge and tunnel enterprise budget workshop will occur. And there's going to be an overview of our division of transit and rail. That'll be led by the director of the division of transit and rail. And then they're also going to present an update on the long-awaited transit connection study to the transportation. The transit connection study is analyzing the existing statewide transit network, busing and outrider, looking at gaps in service and missing connections that possibly can be made with local agencies along the system and also stop improvements. So I know all of us at CDOT are anxious to see that. And then we'll also do a winter maintenance update. We'll hear the engineers seeing the review. That's always really interesting, the number of lane miles filed and things like that. Those great statistics and how much of your tax dollars we're spending. And there will be a greenhouse gas planning standard overview presented by Darius, our Division of Transportation Development Director. And then the board meeting, that's Wednesday, the workshop, and Thursday is the actual board meeting. Numerous reports from the chief engineer, the monthly staff meeting, and then they're acting. Their consent agenda items are a couple of different IGA approvals, parcel disposals. And that looks like it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeff. I think when I made the agenda, I meant to call this also the stack update. So real quick, stack did meet in May and June, canceled the July meeting of the accelerator on the 4th. The big things that I remember being discussed at those meetings were kind of the state budget impacts and how that was going to hit our MMOF funds, which is on the agenda for later, and it's now been kind of resolved. And we did have, I think the Revitalizing Main Streets was another program that kind of ran its last course. I think they took their last applications at the end of April, and that is done for now. And then I do believe we have a staff meeting. Next meeting is Thursday, August 6th. 14th. Okay. I had on the 6th on my calendar, but I'm maybe behind or catching up on cancellations or changes. Is there, moving on to number 5, is there anyone from CDOT to provide a legislative update? Oh, you have a hand up online, Julie? Kathleen Fallon, you have your hand up online.
Okay. Go ahead, Kathleen.
Hi, I know that the legislative session has closed, and I don't know if the Office of Policy and Government Relations has any updates.
Yeah, I can hop in. Hi, everyone. My name's Emily Hadaway. If I haven't met you, I'm the legislative liaison for CDOT. But yes, that is correct, Kathleen. The legislative session has concluded as of early May. Then May was devoted towards bill signing. So the governor has 30 days to choose to either sign bills or veto bills. And so that wrapped up in early June. And now CDOT is starting to set its sights on next legislative session. We have the next few months to figure out what our legislative agenda items will be for next year. We are looking towards figuring out how we will continue our busting expansion program. If you remember a few years ago, there was a pilot program that allotted general fund for busting, and that funding was only allotted up until this year. So we're exploring kind of what next steps might be on that front. We do predict next session will be a very tight budget year again, though. So it's still determining what's kind of in the realm of possibility. The Transportation Legislative Review Committee will start meeting in August. They have a meeting set for August, September, and October. And so CDOT will likely be called to present to that committee. We haven't established exactly what date we'll be presenting, but that's a typical cadence that we usually come and present, usually at the first or second meeting. And then that committee will have an opportunity to draft several transportation-related bills. Typically, in a normal year, that committee has the opportunity to draft 10 bills and then select 5 bills, which will be the committee bills, which can get introduced in the legislative session and not count towards legislators' first 5. So legislators have an opportunity to introduce 5 bills, and the committee bills don't count towards that total. This year, it's a little bit different just because of the tight budget year that we saw in the legislative session, this past legislative session. They have scaled back all committees. So a lot of committees aren't meeting this summer. The TLRC is meeting, but they are only drafting 5 bills and have the opportunity to select 3 bills. And they also are not doing their regular field trip that they usually do. And that's a budget saving measure. There also are grumblings of a special session. Nothing has been officially announced, but it does sound like it could be August, but who knows? There's nothing that's been official. That is partially in relation to the federal budget bill that passed several weeks ago, and that has left a deficit in Colorado's state budget. So the budget's no longer balanced. And so the legislature will have to reconvene at some point to figure out how to absorb those cuts. And like I said, not sure exactly when that'll happen, but it's likely to shift things around, maybe switch up things for the TLRC. So lots up in the air for this summer, but that's all I know on my end.
Emily, are there any direct impacts to the state or the TPRs from the federal budget bill, or still kind of being sorted out?
My understanding is that the federal budget bill doesn't have direct cuts to transportation. It does reduce EV tax credits, but it doesn't affect how much funding goes to DOTs. There are some rescission bills moving through Congress that might repeal or adjust NEVI funding, but those have not passed yet to my knowledge. And then on a wider scale, just on the state budget, we're not sure what could be potential transportation implications, just because the bigger holes are in regards to Medicaid and education funding. And so they're not impacting transportation, but I'm not sure exactly what the JBC and the governor's office is looking to do to address those cuts. But we haven't heard anything in relation to transportation at this time, but it's hard to say at this point.
Thank you. Item 6 is a CDOT update to the 2050 regional plan. Jeff, is that region or is that a headquarters?
I mean, most likely be Kathleen. Yes.
Kathleen?
Oh, hello. In terms of updates to the statewide plan, we did close the statewide survey, and results are being compiled now for the statewide transportation plan survey. The statewide plan is due to go out for public review in August, along with the regional transportation plans. And also, I wanted to, while you guys were talking about updates, I realized I could give you a couple TC updates if Commissioner Parsons isn't on the call. There is a new chair and a new vice chair of the Transportation Commission. Commissioner Cook is now the chair and Commissioner Bowman is now the vice chair. And then some key topics that are coming up in the July meeting. Number one is there's a bridge and tunnel budget workshop, so they're trying to get their funding in order. And then also the long-awaited DTR transit connection study is on the agenda. They're going to give an overview of that from the Division of Transit and Rail, and I thought I ought to let you guys know that. And that's also the greenhouse gas planning standard overview for the state will be covered at the Transportation Commission. So those are the things from TC. And then the statewide plan is mainly we're wrapping up and getting the drafts ready for public review in August. So that's basically the updates from CDOT HQ. Any questions?
Nope, I'm not seeing any. Thank you, Kathleen.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right, this one is, you may be Jeff, 10-year plan, or is someone else from the region?
I'll go ahead and take that.
You're gonna go to, sorry.
It's fun. So you're in front of you the memo, that's showing our updated projects for the third tranche of the 10-year plan. So before we get to that, just wanted to point out to you guys, the region two got allocated for this next 4 years, $166 million to be distributed across the 5 main areas. Central Park Range being one of those. If you look down to that second paragraph, you'll notice that we kind of get deep into we haven't taken the tab on the amount of funding that's in program to receive. Fortunately, you guys can see that first number, 14.6% is what we call our RGP percentage. That's how we generally try to track our funding allocations to our different funding areas. You guys have are at about 17.7% plan to that way for these six funding. So that's great. You guys have received over $124 million worth of projects to some extent. Unfortunately, the budget, as you all know, has been cut. So the next 4 years, we're looking at $166 million to be distributed, like I said, across the five funding areas. That equates to roughly half of what we were anticipating or expecting. So that's obviously going to impact the projects that we can close. So these next 4 years, we'll be about $16 million throughout the state. That brings you guys closer to your RTP target, which is approaching. Certainly better. So with that, we were given direction to take another look at the set of the projects with a couple of ideas in mind. First was, if we have an existing project that's already moving forward, whether it's in design and construction, we put projects on the list and see those projects that haven't been started yet. We took another look. We're trying to keep those on, if you're routine. We have about funding, it's great as we use for this area this year for the next 4 years, so that we had some project. So that was kind of the first guardrail we were doing. The second guardrail was policy direction number 14 that was recently passed by the Transportation Commission with really 3 tenets. The first was advancing transportation safety. 2 was fixing our roads or the design assets and sustainable transportation choice. So using that, we put together the plan. So that's kind of a summary of the memo. And then if you want to pull up, but if you have to print it out in front of you, so it's pretty small on the screen there. We just kind of separate these projects on this next page into projects that have been completed, projects that are active that we're going to keep moving forward, and then the number of projects that are being removed or scoped, especially for transit projects. And then on that back side are the new projects or the special projects. With that, I'll go through, you know, probably just ask John and Scott to help us moving forward. So that first set of 5 projects there successfully completed. We've got power over 15 safety and the yellow slide. Safety and paving improvements. That project was completed. The US 50 test for the east as a rural paving project. Colorado 67, 60 paving project. 69 West Cliff and 69 between West Cliff and Fremont County line, that is rural paving project as well. And then outrider improvements at Kansas City, Code Taxi. That money was used to look at a statewide program for busing outrider improvements across the state. So those have all been completed. The projects that are either in active construction or that we're keeping moving forward and will continue to receive funding are there. And I do want to, yeah, I'll get to it in a second. Yeah, US 285 Colorado 9 intersection improvement with bridge widening up in Third. I think that's just about done, John. Yeah. There's just a little bit more from that part. US 285 south of Bailey to Park, Jefferson County line, that's just rural paving. US 24 was surfacing west of the course. Woodland Park, again, that's rural paving. US 50 safety improvements and Canyon City. 115 shoulder safety improvements between Kansas City and US 50. You'll notice there we've got $3.5 million in FY through FY26. I think to look at design with construction money potentially identified in FY31 through 36. Cripple Creek administration operations facility, that's for transit, Fairplay mobility hubs, that's again transit. And then some more road paving projects, 67 between Florence and US 50, Colorado 120 east of Florence to US 50, US 50 between Penrose and Fremont Pueblo County line. We have $3 million identified in FY27 through 30, and then mobility management expansion of the thermal side. Council of Governments, that's still there. I think that's about ready to be. Right. Yeah. It's still in process. We'll get that to you guys to public expenditure services. Yeah. John, did you have something?
Yeah, just that I feel like we should just make sure to clarify some things. But so that 115 safety and shoulder safety improvement project, which was a combination already with the 115 resurfacing project. That's the line 1080 and 2608 on the far right column. So this does represent kind of a slowing of that project because we don't have sufficient funding to push it into the 27 to 30 window. And I just want to point out with the US 50 Penrose, the Fremont County line. So that's a 27 plus project on the current list. Even though $3 million looks like a low number for that, what we've done is prepared that up with resurfacing money. So we do look to have that as 2027 construction right now. The resurfacing is technically 2029, but we think we can move that forward and stuff. So that's the intent there, is to really make that projects along with the big projects we're discussing.
Right.
Looks like Janelle has her question.
Go ahead, Janelle.
Thank you. So I have two questions. So the Fairplay Mobility Hub, is that CDOT's CDOT's purchase of the lot here in town that they're turning into a mobility hub? Or is that slated for something else?
No, I believe, yeah, Scott's giving me the head nod, yes.
Yeah, it is the lot that we're planning on there, to acquire there and put in the mobility hub there in downtown Fairplay.
Okay, and then the other question I have, I appreciate that information because I know I've been emailing back and forth with someone about us helping to maintain that lot. But I just wanted to clarify, because I had also been told there was money in a plan, but I don't think it's this plan. I think it's in Summit County or whatever region that is for some additional transit improvements that were related to Fairplay. But I don't, maybe that got moved over and that's what this funding is.
Hey Janelle, you are correct. It's Jeff Guthrie. You are correct. And that's in the Intermountain TPR's plan. And I can contact or get you in contact with my counterpart, Mark Rogers, to explain that.
Yeah, I think we talked about that, Jeff, before. I guess I was just confused of why it's in that plan if it's for this area. So I think we talked about that at one point in time. I just want to make sure that that's still in there. And yeah, I'll still be happy to reach out to Mark and talk to him about that. And then my second question relates to actually adding anything to this plan. As I was told, you couldn't ask for anything paving to be added to this plan.
I think when we go to the additional projects, there's a couple small paving projects on there that have been elevated. The first one is, and I'm just skipping down this back page for everyone to follow along. First one was Colorado 9 C resurfacing, subgrade, stabilizing repairs, Fairplay temperature pass. So that was one, and then the other
I'm sorry,
one
I can't hear you. It's really hard to hear out here.
if you look on the back page, there's a couple of small little paving projects, but only one identified in 27 through 30, and that's Colorado 9, resurfacing the subgrades, stabilizing repairs up there at the top of Hoosier Pass that y'all have been asking us about to fix for some time, so that's on the list for FY 27 through 30 for $8 million.
And I would just clarify that, I mean, we are talking fair play up
Yeah.
to Hoosier Pass, and again, that's another one where we're planning to pair it with an equal amount, actually slightly higher amount of surface treatment money for the whole. That's how we get to the total estimated cost of the other dollars that aren't necessarily part of our allocation at this point. Absolutely correct, so.
Perfect. That
So
helps.
nine-
I just saw where it said fair play to Hoosier. I just want to make sure that was from that intersection of 9 all the way to the top.
Yeah,
Great.
I just don't want to jump in. I don't think it's all of it. We won't cover all of it, right? John, well,
I mean, the intention is to hit
that was second.
we're even trying to use this to help leverage Region 3 to put in a little bit of funds and carry it so. So we definitely are open again this time. With that whole thing.
Right. Did we answer your question? Janelle? I'm gonna move back to first page, projects that were removed or rescoped. So first 5 projects, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects on there are highway or rural paving. Those total $55 million. As I mentioned earlier, we have $16 million that we have to work with in the region, so that doesn't get very far, and it's part of the reason why those first 5 projects were removed. John, do you have anything else to add on that?
Well, I would just note that, you know, especially with 67 and 24 aspects of that, one thing that's been brought up repeatedly here in Central Front Range is the focal point of 24 and 67 intersection and divide. So what we've really done is essentially consolidated. You know, we really just don't have the funding to do substantial shoulder, so we're trying to focus in on that, the most important safety area in a lot of these, those corridors that are getting removed, and that is a 67 and 24 intersection there.
And then the transit projects there, I'll have Scott talk more when we go over the back page. Those projects there, I think for the most part, have probably been rescoped. He can talk about, right, that's part.
Yeah.
And then primarily the scope, that funding is still there, it's just being either rescoped or put to additional priority for facilities, and I'll let Scott talk about that here in a second. So then flipping back over to the back page, you know, John's talked about a couple of these already. That first one was the intersection improvements at 67 divide. It goes 24 to 67. We already talked about Colorado 9 resurfacing, and then rural paving on 115 north of Penrose up to the El Paso County line. But that project is identified in FY 31 through 36, so not in the next 4 years. I'll stop there before I have Scott jump in. Do you guys have any questions on any of those projects, transportation projects?
I have a question on the 115 project. How will you set priorities if it's just limited to how much can be done? How will those priorities be set as far as resurfacing or safety issues going through Brookside, Ash and Willow and Brookside Avenues where the accidents seem to be happening, speed limit adjustment, things like that? How will those priorities be set?
You mean the 1080 singularity project?
Correct.
Well, our team is already working on that, right? Like our public meeting a couple weeks back.
Right. And what's there? Yes.
I don't have a formula that I can reveal on how those priorities are set. I mean, you guys are right. You're absolutely right. The number one thing is resurfacing entire corridor. I'd have to grab the presentation and stuff, but they're focusing on those areas, particularly guardrail, that's a big focal point that we've heard, from this group, particularly where those guardrail feels like you're in between bumpers. We need to add shoulders there. There's a couple of drainage, locations and stuff that we use, but it's gonna be that shoulder widening, particularly guardrail areas. That's gonna be probably the focal. I mean, we're still undecided, so we're gonna be trying to do it in consultation. You all, but our design team should be working with each of you. Now, in terms of which area gets,
Just curious, because of the limited funds, where you start and where you stop.
well, I mean, the project itself takes that entire stretch right south of 50 for resurfacing. It's certainly the western part, west of Florence that we're really focused on, probably on the safety.
John, can I ask a question? You have $15 million in the outer years. Is that 15 million just the portion of the project that goes towards the shoulders and safety improvements, and then the resurfacing is addition of that?
If that doesn't include that, okay, that doesn't. So. The resources are definitely not. They're definitely limited to sterling like that.
Thanks, John.
All right, I'm gonna hand it back over to Scott to go over those last transit projects on that being bespoke and where that might be. Yeah, so I can definitely start with the removed projects and everything. So you can see that the transfer facilities for Cripple Creek, Canyon City, and Woodland Park. We actually rescoped that, and they're on the next page, back side there. Sorry about that, Portland. And that is the Teller Senior Coalition Outreach. And then Fremont County Transit Outreach. Those two are listed as 1004A and 1004B. More to go for vehicle replacement and capital needs. The other 130,000, there's 390 there allocated. The other 130,000 also is going to the Cripple Creek admin facility. Moving down the list to 1068. That one was reallocated the new regional fixed route transit service in Tellers County. That one has been moved to the funding has been moved to the Cripple Creek admin and operations building to help them support for pre-construction and hopefully design of that building. Moving down the list is the Westcliff vehicle housing. That one, we took a vote, TPR took a vote back in October of last year to get that rescoped because we, as UACOG was not Custer County wasn't going and everything, Wet Mountain Valley, Rotary wasn't happening. So they was trying to move that funding around and everything. So we actually moved that to UACOG on-demand transit access. We split those into two, and then Custer County Transit Growth, expanding mobility access. Again, those are vehicle replacement, kind of capital needs for those projects. And then the last one we have there is the one that we rescoped was the new interregional transit service between Canyon City, Florence, and Colorado Springs. This was essentially what the TPR put on there was a potential Mustang or Outrider route and everything. Talking to the people up in our Mustang group and Outrider group, we just didn't have the capacity to do it. So the funding was sitting there for the TPR. So we actually split that up and talking with MAC and the other transit agencies around here. That one is on-demand mobility, enhancing UACOG's transportation services. And then the Fremont County expanding access and mobility. And so we split those up from the 840 to the 420. You can see the estimated total project cost. That is also including a 20% local requirement. And then the last two are ones that we just didn't have the funding to move forward, the 1071 and 1070. Those are in the outer years of the plan and its constraints. Any questions on the transit stuff?
Could you talk a little bit about how does this plan move from draft to final? What role does the CFR play in that?
So we're presenting this, our draft to you today. So yeah, the schedule is July 11th, we needed a draft to headquarters, today's the 14th. So that's where we're at. This will go before our executive oversight committee, and headquarters. They'll review, provide comment, feedback, make sure it complies with policy director 14, equity, balance, on all that other stuff. And then I believe September 2nd, they are the rest. For that schedule is once they have the approved specific projects, then they need that statewide greenhouse gas analysis across the state, and that can take several months. So the TC will probably take a look at it in November timeframe, and if we will December, if they're being live in hopefully January.
Does the CFR need to take any action to approve it, recommend it, or anything along those lines, or does it come back to us like stiff approval at some point, or anything like that?
It's a good question. Probably the easiest way to put it is, you guys from June. This list has been submitted and moving forward. You guys can take whatever the action you'd like to do. Knowing that the draft's been submitted, it's pending review from approval by our executive officer.
Nothing else, any more questions on the night? Item 8, which is multi-modal option fund awards. Everybody's here for it. Just taking it, CDOT. And let me introduce you have online the statewide MMOF program manager, Michael Stowe.
Oh, thanks for that, Jeff. Exciting. Okay. I see somebody's sharing the sheet already. I'm gonna actually instead share just a quick screen of some slides just to give a quick overview of where we are again. If I might do that, just a moment. Well, I think I'm gonna be able to share that. Let's see. Okay, maybe not. It's not. All right, one more try. Just a moment. I'm sorry. So let me just kind of start with just a quick overview of things, just to remind everybody why we're here and the conversations, the situation with the program. In late May, we kind of got word from our legislature that they were looking at taking some funds from the program. And they did, after all, once they adopted the FY26 budget, they did take back a total of $71.4 million from existing local MMOF fund balances. And long story short, we went through some work to kind of do a bunch of reconciling amounts, squaring up dollar amounts that we hadn't previously unallocated, and then scraping the bits in the pan is how I like to describe it. But then we basically have to then sort of spread out those funding losses, and we do so proportionally to each of the TPR based on the TC approved formula. What that essentially resulted in doing is taking the amounts that had been previously allocated to Central Front Range and to their TPRs, and it essentially eliminates what were the 2024 and 2025 allocations, and it also reduced the amounts allocated in 2023. So what that results for every region is there are now a larger number of dollars awarded in those years than you have funding allocated. So those excess amounts of your existing awards need to be adjusted by either reducing awards or delaying them to future years. So we still have our FY26 and beyond allocations. So existing awards have to be adjusted in order to bring the 2023 and 24 and 25 amounts back into constraint with those new figures. So, you know, that's the role of the TPR today, and your selection committee have talked through this. And so that's the overview. Are there any questions before I go back to your workbook?
I'm here in the room, Michael.
Okay. All right, so is everybody back to seeing this, the screen here with your award, the award thing? Okay, so this is a bit of a heavy duty screen of numbers. And so let me get you kind of oriented to things. This is a list of, in gray here, are all the existing awards made of MMOF funds for the entire Central Front Range. You'll see the total dollar amounts added up here in the current amount awarded of state dollars, right? So just to differentiate that, we're not talking about FY22, which is over here. FY22 funds are those federal ARPA funds that were allocated to the program and you all awarded to projects. This has nothing to do with that. We aren't touching those amounts, and none of them can actually be changed. So we won't make any changes to those. But back to this, if you want to look at them, we brought in some of the expenditures. So these are the amounts that have been expended in state dollars on those projects. Now I'll slide over here and just kind of talk about what these different columns mean. Again, because it's very complicated. There's a lot here. So I want to make sure everybody understands what this workbook is doing. But every one of these gray columns where it says current, that's the amount you have currently awarded to your MMOF projects. And I have highlighted a couple that we're proposing some changes to. The new column, so in each case here, the new columns are where you can actually drop in numbers and it'll add it up for you to tell you what's left in that year. So if I slide down here, you can now see that your May allocation for 2020 here is $1,617,000. You have that amount awarded, well, less $1. And so this last row will show you what's remaining in each of those years. So if I change numbers around, these numbers the workbook will just kind of add that up for us. So what CDOT staff have done is we've looked over all these projects and determined which ones are sorry about that. My mouse is freaking out there. So we identified the projects that are the best candidates for moving their dollar amounts to different fiscal years without any impact to those projects. When I say no impact, I mean, we not proposing any reduction of their dollar amounts, but we will move their dollar amounts to different fiscal years so that it brings you back into constraint. But we can do that without impacting their timeline. So in other words, projects that are ready to go to work and use their funds, it won't impact that. They can still do that even if we're moving their dollar amounts around. So, questions?
I'm here in the room, Michael.
Okay, so no questions in the room. I can't really monitor both screens at once, so you'll have to stop me if somebody is raising a hand or something. So here's what we propose, and I've highlighted in yellow those projects that we've proposed some changes to. So Custer County's sidewalk installation project, originally awarded $325,933, was was originally awarded $250,000 in fiscal year 23. You can see that amount here. And what we've done with that $250,000, first off, is that we are going to award to it some reallocated funds. And what that means is there are previous projects that have already completed their work and they had a few dollars remaining in the grant. Those dollars get returned to your pool, so you can reallocate them to new projects. So we're going to take up all of your previous project savings and assign that to the Custer County project. We'll amend the 2023 amount to $62,921. And if I keep going right, you'll see where we've placed the remainder of that original award out to 26 in the amount of $187,079. Okay. Second one is to amend would be the Cripple Creek City Park sidewalks. That one was awarded initially $128,500 in FY23, which you'll see here. And we're proposing to just move that out to FY26, keeping it whole, but just changing the year of its award. So you'll see that those two changes, and that would be a motion that we need the TPR to make and approve today, unless you wish to do something otherwise with your award reconciliation today.
Clarification there, Mr. Chair. Just so everybody understands, and Michael, please back me up here. First of all, fiscal year 26 funds, that's state fiscal year, and we are now in state fiscal year 26, so those are available now.
Yep.
And then secondly, Michael, the backup I'm asking for is when everybody sees the funding split across fiscal years 26, 27, 28, and 29, because of the cash management approach that you are taking with this, you're able to advance the funds from those outer years into when said entity is ready to enter a new phase, correct?
That's correct.
Everybody get that? So you can access the funds sooner than what they are detailed on here. So no, you don't have to wait till fiscal year 29. It's the real point I'm trying to make. Right?
And all that, I appreciate you saying that. That's probably more relevant, and maybe we revisit that topic when we're talking about awarding your new projects. Because after all, these two changes here to Custer County's and Cripple Creek's projects simply move dollars out to 26. And as you mentioned, we're already in 2026. So there's not really any advancement of future funds going on.
So you're looking for the TPR members to move and vote on approving the changes you just highlighted, correct?
Correct. So
You want
again,
that done
yeah, go ahead.
separately from the new awards, or you want two separate action items?
I think so. I think it makes sense to just kind of get that taken care of, and then we can move on to new applications, as that's just a little bit more involved conversation.
I guess I would entertain a motion to make the adjustments to fiscal year 23 projects for Cripple Creek and Custer County government as presented by CDOT. Will you make that motion? Here.
So moved.
Lucas. Second. Second, Becky. Thank you. Any further discussion on those items? Here, any online, Julie? All right, all in favor of those revisions, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes for the amendments of those two projects.
All right, very good. So Jeff, maybe Jeff and Lachelle and I will work with the chair and your admin team to get some updated award notices out to those two project sponsors. Okay, and if that's it, then let's move on to the next topic. So, as I mentioned, this workbook is the nice, spreadsheet workbook that kind of figures things out for you, so you can move around numbers today in these columns and see where it leads you. Currently, as I pan left and right, you can now see this bottom row, which is the dollar amounts remaining in each fiscal year. You'll see everything is now assigned to projects out through, you've done the reconciliation by for these two projects. And in the rows below, that is the green ones, you have 4 applications. I have entered the amounts that they requested in the fiscal years they requested. So that, again, it's in the gray columns. And some proposed amounts that you can decide to award today by entering those here. You're not fully assigned just yet, but we'll talk through that. And I think at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, who I think is in the room, and let him facilitate a conversation. But I would perhaps suggest we invite the 4 project applicants to make a brief presentation and overview of what they've proposed.
That sounds good with everybody, and whenever Michael says a brief presentation, it's just a verbal overview. We're not expecting anything fancy. Just remind us, and we can go in order of what we're looking at on the sheet. If Kathy Lowry is ready from Teller Senior Coalition, can you give the group just a brief elevator pitch on what your application entails?
Sure. So in Teller County, into Eastern Park and Western El Paso, we created these local bus routes where on different days we go to different parts of our service area. Like one day we go to Victor Cripple Creek, one day we go to Lake George. And the purpose of these routes is to bring residents of those areas into Woodland Park so they can go to the grocery store. Sometimes they can do medical appointments. But it just sort of consolidates riders from different areas of the county into Woodland Park, which is sort of the main hub here for shopping and things like that. We're averaging about 120 riders a month. It's been very well received. We have a different area of the county or the service area that we hit each day of the week. So that's what this is about.
Any questions for Kathy from the group? Teller Senior Coalition? I see none.
I do have one quick question, if there isn't any there. Can you talk a little bit about how your requested amounts, how they relate to and play in with your other sources of operational funds? And specifically, are these requested amounts? I see you requested, a little bit spread out between 26, 7, and 8. Are those the actual amounts that you would be likely to spend in those fiscal years beyond what you have from other FTA and local sources of operational funds?
Yes, I mean, we track driver time, staff time, administrative transportation time that are serving these routes. We call them MMOF routes. So their time is allocated directly to MMOF funding. Also a portion of fuel, auto insurance, maintenance costs. There's just an allocation based basically on the number of route trips versus total trips. But any expense that's allocated to the MMOF is not included in the 5311 expense reimbursement. Hopefully that answers your question.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you would be billing against the MMOF even while you still had some remaining of your 5311 for that year.
That's correct. And again, we allocate all costs, specifically between the two funding sources.
Gotcha.
There's no double billing.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Moving along. Cripple Creek's next in line on here.
Thanks, everybody. I am new to the city of Cripple Creek, so, if I don't know all of the details, but this project is to support, the removal and replacement of existing sidewalks through our city park to meet ADA standards. This does include the removal and replacement of non-compliant and failing sidewalks, stairs, and accessible ramps. Removing existing timber retaining walls on the north and south side of the property and replacement with new concrete retaining walls. Additional landscaping and trees needed to replace the sidewalk, and it includes heated sidewalk around the existing student park buildings and drainage improvements to address standing water and facing issues.
An existing project, right, Becky?
This is an existing project.
And if the city was awarded, then the city would probably immediately go to ad, correct?
We are ready. We're ready to go. We're eager. Before the snowballs, please.
Any further questions, Your Honor?
None here. Any questions online, Julie?
I can see.
Right.
Next in line, Kansas City.
Kansas City, our project was for upgrades and replacement to city sidewalks along 15th Street. Project was identified in our recently completed multimodal master plan as a priority for the city, which was a plan that was completed with previous MMOF funds. So this is kind of our first take at putting some of that plan into action. One thing I would point out is that the project initially had a much higher request, I believe close to $600,000, but it was eligible. It may have been the only eligible project for the use of some unallocated CMAQ dollars. So those were, I believe, awarded separately to this project, which reduced our request down to, which I believe is 20% of the CMAQ fund, which is the local match required of that particular project.
That's right. In Leo, Kansas City is eligible for a 0% MMOF match, correct, for program guidelines?
Yes, we are.
And so this request would be asking to help with the city's local match to the CMAQ funding, is that correct?
Correct.
And then everybody might notice in column alpha, AA at the bottom right, in fiscal year 29, there is a $57,290 unallocated balance of MMOF funds. And I think the group could consider voting today to also award those funds to help Kansas City's local match if they so desire.
Yeah, I believe as it's presented in the spreadsheet, I think Kansas City may be the only project that wasn't recommended for the full amount, which we understand somebody had to take the cut to get there, and that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. Y'all owe me one if it gets voted.
Yes, payments. That's it. Any questions on our project? Any online, Julie?
And if somebody speak up.
And Commissioner F, Custer County. So Custer County, when you drive by and you're heading northbound on the state highway, when you pull over, anybody on the passenger side is handicapped. You're just up against an embankment of dirt, and it's very hard. There's no sidewalk until you go up. So we want to take that down and knock that down, put a sidewalk right along the side of the highway there. So when people pull up there, anybody that's handicapped can get straight out and go out. A lot of times they just park 3 feet from the edge of the curb, and then you're almost onto the lane of the highway. So this is to make this ADA compliant, rectify some of the situations there. The extra $50,000 is due to this project kind of getting pushed out. We think it's gonna come within that $187,000, but I think some inflation is probably gonna all of that and go into some of the 50. I've got one guy with the county that manages all of our buildings and cleans them, and this project is probably a little too big of scope, so I wanted to add some money in there for project management of that project, as well as if we don't have a county manager to do that, so it either falls on me or I hire somebody, so that's kind of what this is for. So
This is an existing project, right, Lucas?
yes,
And so if Custer County was awarded, Custer would most likely go to ad immediately, correct?
absolutely.
Thank you.
No questions in the room? Julie, anything online?
No.
All right.
Michael, do you think that they are ready to propose a motion to vote on the awards?
Yeah, that's, I think that's fine. Some of the conversation was a little bit muffled for me. Are we talking about any modification to the Canyon City 15th Street sidewalk amount, or? I'm not sure what I
Michael,
heard from that.
what was discussed in the room was potentially allocating the remaining dollars, which is the 57,290 number to that project
Okay.
to make it closer to its original request.
Gotcha. Okay.
Don't leave money on the table, Michael.
There's $1 back there. That's still. You leave that.
Yeah, I'm gonna save that for a sandwich. Thanks, guys, but.
Would anybody willing to make that motion to award as recommended with the allocation of the remaining $57,290 to Canyon City for their project?
Okay. All right, and that does that. So you can see that in the column H here that I've highlighted for you. So you can maybe make the motion, verbally, just so you have it documented, the dollar amounts that you're awarding to those projects. And then Jeff and I will work out the communication in the award announcements, showing the different fiscal year breakouts of those amounts.
Do it as presented, and you send this to us after the fact?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to read those, because we're a little far away from the screen to be able to read what you've got up there, I think, at least I am.
Okay, hang on, let me see if I can't,
Hey, Michael, this is included in the meeting packet. Just so you know, to the point of Leo asking for the as presentation.
okay. All right, that sounds good. So then the only thing different from what you would have had in your packet would be the 15th Street sidewalk award amount, and that's now $75,032 total.
So that is correct.
To make a motion to accept the proposals as presented and any funding of $57,000 and change to support Kansas City's project.
So. Any last discussion? Questions in the room? Julie, anything online? No. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Sign. Passes. Two.
Okay. Well, I'll just congratulate you all on getting your entire MMOF program reconciled and awarded out through fiscal year 29.
Julie, what was that?
We've got a question in the chat.
Oh, question in the chat, go ahead. You got it?
So she's pulling that up, but I can go ahead and read it. So Janelle, this is back in regards to the 10-year plan. So she mentioned she had to step out. Someone was at a town hall. She did not hear the outcome of the discussion regarding the paving of Colorado 9. The portion of Colorado 9 to Fairplay is not a part of the new $16.5 million of resurfacing project. Then the town of Fairplay strongly objects to the parameters and encourages reconsideration for safety reasons. The significant surface damage is resulting in vehicles dodging the damage, which puts pedestrians and vehicles parked along the side of the pavement. It is also utilizing our officers' valuable time when they are making stops because they believe it might be a drunk driver, only to find the driver's license was either moved by the damage or they swerved to miss damage. The town will also ask for improved / re-painted crosswalks and have been told this is scheduled. It would make more sense to have the surface repaved prior to that project.
Now, we could take a note of that in our meeting minutes as well and put that back in the discussion portion of that item when it came on. Guys, I have to be nervous now. Is there something I need to know about how much asphalt goes up there or something? That's like 10 miles. I think it's not even 10 miles. And that's a very typical, resurfacing project for us. We definitely, so you guys would be nervous now. But yes, the big for all things on, fair flooding to move your fast, getting north of your fast is doing anything. It's back and I think we estimated it additional funds because we do see the need for some safety improvements. Keep repairs necessary that actually remains. That's the need for last week. On the mountain, they went out and did some injection. That stuff that's stabilized. So I think the answer to that is attached. Okay. Thank you, John. Also being up there, maintenance is starting tomorrow and it's being on Kelly night. That's both. Actually. Okay. I don't know if you heard that, Janelle, that's Chad from maintenance. He mentioned there's some paving north of Alma next week. Tuesday and Wednesday. Did they do that phone, that injection or something? Not yet. Not open, so. It's not here. But we are doing that same. Very good. All right, then, since we did wrap up, our scheduled business a little early, I will invite CDOT folks to kind of run through some of the things we haven't been able to hit the last couple of times as we've been constrained. John or somebody would like to give a brief synopsis of your ongoing CDOT projects. if you had the the bottom line is, we have three principally active projects. 285B, they're Bailey through to the Jeffco line. We've got 24 west of Woodland Park, so basically the forest and Divide, and about the PPAC boundary. Really, the third project I'm mentioning is technically PPAC project Woodland Park reconstruction there on the north side of 24. Projects nearing completion are basically recently completed, of course, 285, 50 resurfacing, got final bridge work and kind of punch list stuff out by Salida, way out west, Fremont County, and the Jacob stations finally runs a brand for Negotia and the one north of the home. They're finally fully operational. So electrical projects for design right now. We talked about the 115 project. Obviously, there was on the 10-year list. Also on the 10-year list is the 8-mile hill project, west side safety improvements, west side of Kansas City. So my memo, for those of you who read it, did say, like, with no expected timeline on the grant, there's probably be a little bit, I mean, we sure should hope to hear about it this year, right? And I've heard just since I submitted this memo from Ann and Don up at our headquarters who did their grant writer, that they really are anticipating, August to hear back on that bill, latest grant application. So try to stay optimistic about that. Hopefully that project will be able to kick in and be under construction. The promise would be by 2027, if you get that grant, we should be able to get under construction. It'd be nice to get some 2026 season construction going. Longer term, just want to point out again, within this 10-year list, so and outside of it, 2026, we're anticipating resurfacing project there paved through Calhoun and El Paso County out east of paved through Calhoun. That's going to include a passing lane, Highway 69 on both sides of Texas Creek. So basically, the portion of Highway 69 in Fremont County, down south of there, the West Cliff. That should be under construction in 2026. Everything looks all lines go on that, and some concrete pavement rehab. Then within the Penrose area, there are 15 also for 2026. And then again for 2027, looking at the 50 Penrose to Baldwin County lines, and then I see rehabilitation. And you're planning through that. Recommend. Okay, that's all. Thank you, John. Anybody have any questions on the active, ongoing, upcoming CDOT projects here in the room or online? Seeing none, we can touch quick on local agency project updates. Michelle, is there anything you'd like to lead out on, or do you want to just run through the list of projects here and have the locals that are here update on them?
I can just go ahead and just run through most of these. The top, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, sorry. The top 4 projects are complete. We're waiting on EEO certs on most of them. Let's see, 4 Mile Lane Bridge rehab, we're waiting to see what Canyon City wants to do there. Fair Play, the project is 75% complete. Calhoun is in construction right now. Park County Trail, let's see, that one is in FIR. Custer County, also working through FOR, and just was recently, because of your vote just now, was awarded another $50K. Cripple Creek City Park, ready for construction. Now we can go to construction since your vote on the award. Thank you. Canyon City bump outs is just addressing punch list items. And then, let's see, Third Street connector. We're getting ready to start design on that one. So a lot of these are complete or nearing construction. And then, I mean, every one of these projects is moving pretty good. So if anybody has any questions.
Any hands up or questions online? Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah. What can you tell us about CDOT maintenance?
So today we started doing runnable mitigation on Highway 50 between Canyon City and Temple Street. We're working with the contractor to blast those big rocks that are right next to the edge of the asphalt. So we'll be removing them. There's also a couple other areas within that vicinity that they're gonna do some mitigation, rockfall mitigation, our contractor is doing. So we're hoping to be done this week, but you never actually know for sure how far it's gonna go, but hopefully we're done by Wednesday, Thursday. Paving projects, as I stated, we're on Highway 9, starting tomorrow, and it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday. Then we're gonna move to Wilkerson Pass. We'll be halfway up the east side of Wilkerson, on the week of the 21st, kind of weather depending for sure when they will start, as long as the rain's good. But for Fremont County, we're gonna be doing some spot patching, paving on Highway 58, mile marker 293 to the 294. And for that county, that's all we have for Fremont.
All right.
And then, if you wanna hang out afterwards, me, you and John Wong can, I'll discuss that cold.
That's not bad. All right, anyone have any questions for Chad? Anything else for CDOT maintenance? Julie, anything online? Scott, last up, CDOT transit.
Yeah, perfect. So, what I just brought is just a snapshot of the outrider ridership. And I just wanted to show a little bit of how healthy the system's doing and everything, through the region here. So I've got Alamosa and Pueblo, you can see Coda Taxi, Penrose on there, being stops. And that line's doing really good. The Crescent Butte to Denver is also, we have a stop in Fairplay. That's where we're also planning for our mobility hub and have that stop there too, downtown, Fairplay. So we've got the north and northeast and southwest kind of back and forth. Then you can see the totals of each route at the bottom there. And then, the next page is just the, overall of what's in Region 2 outright. So you could take a look at Alamosa to Pueblo, Trinidad to Pueblo, Lamar, Colorado Springs, and the Crescent Region Denver. And you can see that we're doing really good. We average about 40,000 riders a year on the outrider. So it's a pretty healthy system. The main line, which is the Colorado Springs to Denver and then Denver to Grand Junction, those average about 65,000. So overall, we're moving a lot of people from rural Colorado into the urban areas and then even out of them too. So things are going well. And if you wanted updated numbers on June, I do have those. That's all.
Anyone have any questions for Scott? Really? Online? All right. Last item I have for everybody, our next meeting is October 20th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I believe you and Bob will be taking back over as the administrator, so we still have the location that's to be determined for now, but we will work with them. I don't know if Dave or anybody was online for this meeting. I can speak to what they'd like to do, but we can catch up with them later as well.
Kathleen has a question.
Oh, Kathleen, go ahead.
Hello, I just wanted to thank Canyon City, both Julie McGrew and Leo Evans, yourself, for your help with making the transition from the Upper Arkansas area COG and you guys to temporarily take over TPR administration for the Central Front Range TPR. You really saved us by doing that. I also would like to recognize Lindsay Jacques, who also from Region 2 of CDOT helped make the transition much smoother. Both the Canyon City team and the Region 2 team have been exemplary, and Lindsay has been instrumental in really making these TPR meetings a success. And I just wanted to thank you guys for your help. And we look forward to working again with the Upper Arkansas folks, but we really appreciated you filling in for the interim. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Captain. We're happy to help, and we also look forward to getting back to letting you calculate. So once we get the location sorted out, that'll be sent out on the updated meeting minutes. I would guess their first time they may just want to stay close to home and do it at their offices here in Canyon City, but we will find out and let everyone know. And with that, I would say we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.